Welcome to Open Heart Brain Surgery, where the guest picks a piece of media that they love and we talk about it. New episodes come out every 3 weeks and are available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, and all the other places. I'm your host, Eric Whitaker, and today we're talking to Billy Brett from Buck Gooter, and we're going to be talking about the record Outside by David Bowie.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing okay. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for doing this. I think it'll be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for asking me.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on one second, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
Just realized I had my little note list.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what made you want to talk about this record in particular?
Well, so basically the year was probably 1998 and I was 12 years old. It might have been 97.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, I was 12, I think, and I was at my grandmother's house, she was a pretty wild lady. She was really into like lots of like modern music and different stuff.
Cool.
My aunt and her were really big David Bowie fans, and like back in the 70s, she lived in Philadelphia, and they would go see Bowie all the time and all that stuff. Like, you know, when he first came to the US and stuff like that. And she kept up with them and really dug David Bowie and music and stuff. And when I was 12, it was the first time I'd ever really listened to music and been like, whoa, in a way where it kind of opened me up to listening to different types of music. She was like, have you heard the recent David Bowie album? And I'm like, no, I don't. All I know is, you know, like Let's Dance and like the hits and stuff. I'm not, even though they were big fans, I didn't know a lot. She's like, let me play something for you. And she played the Hello Space Boy single. And it has like the Pet Shop Boys remix is like the first thing you hear. And then there's like some other songs on there, like Moon Age Daydream and Under Pressure. And I think Heart's Filthy Lesson is on the disc too. And she just blasted it in her little office that we were sitting in, just like, oh. And she was like an early computer user. She had like this array of computers and she was on the internet stuff. And I just remember just being in that room, just being like, whoa, you know, this is music. And then when I turned 13 for my birthday, she sent me a stereo and like a stack of burned CDs.
Oh, nice. Wow. That's great. Yeah.
So like, and it was like the entire David Bowie discography and like all kinds of other things that she had burned at her house, which in like 1997 or 8, it's like you didn't do that. You know what I mean? Like no one burned CDs. Like maybe like 2 or 3 years later, everybody did it. But so that was just like really formative for me, just the hearing that disc. It wasn't even the whole album, and then eventually hearing the record, and it was like, this is my favorite Bowie record. You know, that's what she said, and you know, it stuck with me, and I think it's my favorite Bowie record too.
Wow. Were you a musician already at that point?
No, that's the thing, is like I didn't really have like a grasp on music. I listened to like a little bit of stuff, but it was like my first time being like, oh, you can like get into music, and like you can like this is like a deep cut kind of, you know what I mean? Like kind of like weird digging into music, like not just surface level of an artist.
Sure. Some ownership kind of.
Exactly. Yeah. Finding things that are like, you'd never hear that on the radio.
No.
You're never going to hear the Hello Space Boy single. I think you know, a couple months later, I probably got, you know, this birthday gift, you know, of the albums and the stereo, but it just really like, I just remember that so well, just like being blasted by that song, and maybe just like the loud volume of it too. Like I'd never really kind of, I don't know, something about it just so disarming.
It sounds like it was kind of an immersive experience being in that loud setting, hearing this kind of off the wall music, right? Is how you took it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the immediate impact of it didn't really affect your music necessarily, but do you think it made you sort of like a deeper music listener in general?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was like, oh, this is a record. And then even back then, I mean, it had only been out for a couple years, but people were like, what is this? Like,
Hmm.
where is this in his pantheon of music? Like, forget about it. It was like, wow, that's the record y'all are forgetting about? Like, damn.
Yeah.
And then just checking the whole discography out, and I've just always been that guy. I mean, I just like have to listen to kind of like every record someone's put out. And
Sure.
if they've only put out like 20, I save like three,
Yeah.
and like
Yep.
like listen to them every, find it
Hmm.
in 5 years or something. But
Yeah, sometimes if a discography is too deep, it's like intimidating, like
yeah,
where do I even start? And then everyone will give you a different answer, especially with David Bowie. So everyone will
yeah,
give you a different answer as to which ones are the important ones, kind of. But yeah,
yeah,
this was really cool. Like I said, I hadn't listened to it very much, but I do see some like direct connections to other records that I think are super cool,
yeah.
like Low and Scary Monsters. Like something in there. I don't know. It felt like it's shared some DNA.
Yeah, for sure. I think like he was definitely trying to just kind of like follow his weird muse.
Hmm.
And I think with all those records, it was like he just was doing whatever and was like in his headspace at the time. Like he was really interesting with that because I think like even like later, like I think the next day is
Hmm.
the most David Bowie album ever
Yeah.
because I know for a fact that was the album before the last album.
Hmm.
I know for a fact that he just wrote all those songs in his house. So
Oh,
it's like if you
yeah.
leave David Bowie alone with the computer to write songs, it's going to sound like
Yeah.
the next day, and it's pretty power rocking. It's
Hmm.
not as weird as like a lot of stuff, but I feel like if it's just like the circumstances of those other records, like what they were. It's like very much him, but like David Bowie with tape recorder is the next day, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was reading. I'd never read the Wikipedia article. I knew a lot of the lore,
Uh-huh.
and I kind of even knew. I pretty much knew everything that was on the page, but just reminded me of how, like, I guess, like the original recording for Outside was Brian Eno getting musicians together and like making them pull his cards out of his oblique strategies deck and do different things, and they
Yeah.
apparently jammed for 30 hours. Nice. Yeah, I need to get a deck of those cards. I always put it off.
They're cool. My wife got it for me for Christmas, and I do actually use it, and I can see how it's like kind of eye roll worthy a bit, but
Yeah.
really, if you're kind of stuck creatively, there's such abstract ideas that it helps sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems great, like just have it around. But yeah, like they just accumulated all this stuff, and apparently it said like Bowie was mostly painting while they
Yeah.
did it.
I saw
And
that
then he
too.
would and then he would come in and like do these like voiceovers in the record. There's these
Hmm.
interludes where he speaks in different characters and voices and stuff. And that's like that's great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's an aspect to him too, but that's obviously like a very different setup. And
Yeah.
that record, that I guess that is what became kind of the bones of the album. Like they did these jams and then they condensed
Hmm.
that down into what they say is 3 hours. But then they say they like people were bootlegging it, so they abandoned it. And then, but the thing is like my grandmother was a David Bowie bootlegger, and she was like keyed in on the internet. That never
Yeah.
existed. That
Right.
that tape did not come out until YouTube. Like 15 years ago, it showed up on YouTube or something, and that's
Hmm.
when you first heard that.
Yeah.
It was not around in the
Yeah.
90s. It
It's
was
just a
not
big
around.
excuse, you think, that
Yeah,
do it?
well, I
Yeah.
think I think like they had this lofty ideas of like putting it out like and not putting a name on it and all this crap, and then it was
Hmm.
just sort of like they just gave up all of this like kind of weird artsy ideas about distributing it and just use like parts of that long jam
Yeah.
within the album, and then they made these kind of more like poppy structured songs later, right? So like
Yeah.
half of the record I think is that, and then
For
half of the
sure.
record is from the jams.
Yeah, the second half of the record, and I don't mind cutting it in half because it's an hour and 15 minutes long. I think you'd be justified by splitting it up.
Yeah.
But the second half to me really felt way poppier than the first half. The first half, I think the vision is like kind of clear. Like it's really sparse. It's really cool. Like you can hear a lot of the stuff from Low because Brian Eno produced that too.
Yeah.
And you can hear the sparseness of it. You can hear the beginnings of his sort of like more industrial sound. You know, later he works with Trent Reznor or whatever, but this is before that. But it still has those elements to it. So the first half of it, I was like, dang, I wish I would have been listening to this since, 1995, but I haven't. But it's not that the second half is bad, but it kind of does, like you say, abandon the weirdness a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I think they just, I don't know, they were just like, we should probably put some songs on that. It is so long. I'm looking at the CD right now. But I just like vibe out to it, and I have been since I was like a tender age that I just don't even realize time goes by.
Right. Yeah, it was cool to hear his American accent too. That's always fun to hear.
Yeah, I love it when he does characters and stuff. There's this recording on YouTube of him singing, like, have you heard that? Where he sings like all these different singers.
Oh, no, I haven't heard that.
As Bruce Springsteen and like Bob Dylan, I think, and like it's just it's like a, I don't know how they got it, but they just had him kind of, it's almost like I'm trying to remember what it even is, like what the song is. It's just he keeps singing, and every verse he sings in a different voice. It's really fun.
Is it well done? Does he do well?
Yeah, it's goofy.
Well, one thing I found interesting, speaking of the American accent, he plays Philip Jeffries in Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me.
Yeah.
Pretty, I don't know. I find his accent pretty funny, but it works. It's fine. But reading about it, it said that was sort of an influence on this record, or an inspiration, was the Twin Peaks kind of story of a detective researching a murder of a young girl, basically.
Right.
But it's funny because I think Fire Walk with Me probably came out in like 91 or 2. So we're like quite a few years out, and it's still like in his head. But I found that really interesting. I didn't know he had taken inspiration from that directly on anything he's done. So that was kind of cool to read about too.
Yeah, I feel like there was some kind of, he was just saying like in general, like that time, just that kind of like, I don't know, like basic, it's like X-Files vibe of everything. Right. Like he like felt that, and he was like going for that, and like, outsider stuff, outsider music. Yeah, the narrative arc of the story has always been something that has kind of like, I've just sort of not even paid any attention to. But it is interesting that he did that movie, and the movie at the time, everyone hated it.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, oh, I'm gonna keep on that, the thing that everyone hates. I'm gonna just do that. That's pretty cool. Yeah. And I saw an interview where David Lynch was saying that, like he tried to get David Bowie to do a voiceover for the third seat, the return. And David Bowie, said, no, I can't do it, but you have my blessing or whatever to get someone else to do it. And the guy, he's like, but please don't do the accent.
Oh, okay.
Because he thought that he was like, he thought that it was like disrespectful to people from Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
But the voice actor ended up being like, you can't do it any other way. And it's actually like a perfect accent.
It's a pretty good approximation of his accent. And I mean, he is like a teapot sort of, and that's kind of unexplainable, but the accent's pretty solid.
No, the guy that did the acting was like, I can't do a different voice. Like it's like something about it. It was like impossible to change it. So that was interesting that he just kind of beat himself up over it, and everybody was like, it's totally fine. I think the guy was from Louisiana. That might have been.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Like, get a Louisiana voice actor, and the guy was like, I don't know. I got to do it this way. So,
yeah. It's pretty funny to feel weird about the part you played in a David Lynch movie. It's like everyone's feeling the same way, I bet. Later on. Yeah. So you said that your family were big Bowie fans in general. So was this your introduction to David Bowie, or did you know all about him, and this is just the one that hit you at the right time?
No, this was basically like I had just heard hits and stuff and didn't know a lot. And then that was it. It was like, oh, David Bowie, damn, okay.
Gotcha.
That's what y'all are talking about. And then just started getting into the discography at a tender age and just really getting into that too.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the vibe of the time or whatever, because I was instantly, the first thing I thought, even the first track, I was like, oh, this is like Scott Walker. Like this is like Tilt. And so I looked into that a little bit, and it seems like they used each other's stuff to reference when they were recording, which is like really pretty amazing. And it's funny because I could listen to this and be like, oh, that's a Scott Walker harmony. That's how Scott Walker does harmonies. And then you think about it just slightly more and you're like, well, that's how David Bowie does harmonies too. Like,
Yeah.
and I never really thought of them necessarily on the same ground, you know?
Yeah.
But if you look at Tilt, which came out the same year as this, they probably should have just collaborated on a record. I mean, it sounds really similar, a lot of the same ideas. And I'm trying to
I gotta check it out.
Oh yeah, Tilt is the best. Yeah.
I saw that on the wiki page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think
like,
oh, that of course, yeah, because they were trying to just like place it in time where it's like Britpop was huge, and the only thing even close to this album was Scott Walker. So yeah, I got to check it. I've heard some of his stuff throughout the year and just knew that they had kind of a thing, you know, inspirational thing together. But
yeah, and the Bends came out by Radiohead, and I hear some moments on Outside that, I mean, just kind of like just similarities, not actual sounds or comparable things, but like you said, just kind of this thing in the air, sort of like, yeah, I think calling it the X-Files vibe makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, right.
It was like, we're through alternative. We're into Outside now. We're into the weird stuff, you know?
For sure. And I think, you know, he was always talking about like having some anxiety about the millennium changing over and like what that meant for art and people. And I mean, a lot of people had like the Y2K fears, like
for sure.
Everything was gonna like flush itself out or something in the next couple years, and I don't know if that really happened, but it was definitely something for some reason people like to make up and run with. So yeah, I guess that's part of it, sort of that millennium. I mean, he says it in one of the things. He says a millennium fetish, and I think that's accurate. There was definitely that going on back then.
Yeah,
but I think it holds. I mean, I don't hear really time in it. I hear like, cause like the stuff that was sort of leading up to it, like Black Tie, White Noise, you kind of hear in Bowie's, in that record, sort of like little, like you can kind of see how Outside came out because of that one. And then there's a song on the Cool World soundtrack that kind of has a similar, I think it was recorded around Black Tie, White Noise anyway. And then he did this kind of diversion record called The Buddha of Suburbia, which is a lot more, that actually sounds more like an Eno record, like an Eno ambient album, but it didn't involve Brian Eno at all. And then and you can hear still that's sort of percolating under there, and then Outside hits, and it's like this, it's almost like a split the difference between like Earthling and Buddha Suburbia. You kind of smash those two together and you get,
I'm gonna have to check
for
that
a long
out.
time. Buddha Suburbia was like my favorite Bowie record. I would kind of like act like a real snob and say that.
Nice.
I don't love it, but I think honestly, like I listen to Outside more anymore, stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you think that hearing Outside was your first taste of sort of that elitist gatekeeping feeling? Like, I know that sounds weird, but I kind of remember the first things I listened to where I was like, nobody's fucking heard this, you know, like I'm the craziest, you know, and I don't know.
Well, I grew up in an environment, I guess just environment, place, time, whatever, where it was like, we didn't really have that. Like the people that were the gatekeepers were into like emo.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like that was sort of like kind of like late 90s, early 2000s punk, like bad music. You know what I mean? Like kind of most successfully, you know, accomplished by like various bands from Discord label, you know, stuff like that. But like, it was never anything that I was like, man, you guys are really on something here. You know, it was like, I just remember liking David Bowie in high school and people thinking that was the stupidest thing ever, you know, like, and those people who I would consider kind of like gatekeepery, you know, music snobs, that's kind of like what they would never listen to. And
Right.
you see that change over time, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. It's funny. I remember I saw Nine Inch Nails with Marilyn Manson. It's like 1994,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
Marilyn Manson was after the show was wearing a David Bowie shirt. And I
Yeah.
remember saying like, "Oh, David Bowie, that's amazing." Like that's how weird it actually was to be into David Bowie. Like
Yeah.
that it was weird enough for Marilyn Manson to be like, "I'm going to rep this obscure artist," you know, like
Yeah.
it
No,
was not the
yeah.
time for him, but I don't know. And I don't know if this album helped or not.
I think
his
it didn't
return.
help. I don't think he ever really smashed through in America like in the 90s the way that he probably just killed it in Europe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like you hear the horror stories of how they did that Nine Inch Nails tour and like
Hmm.
for Outside, and they would swap who would headline.
Oh,
And
yeah.
whenever it was David Bowie, like the hordes of moron Nine Inch Nails fans would leave, and you're just like, man, that's a
Yeah.
perfect example of like people that have no grasp of music. It's like you're walking out on the
Yeah.
Outside tour,
Right.
like he's never playing most of those songs ever again, and you're
Nope.
walking out like that's just pearls before swine. You know,
Yep.
you run into that so much with music where you're like gotta throw up your hands and wonder,
Yeah.
you know. And I think that he kind of was sort of chasing that, like, what's gonna hit, you know, and
Yeah.
maybe he got it a little bit with Earthling, but I think he was always popular and stuff, but it wasn't like, I don't know. I think he had that crazy arena rock late 80s phase. He never really recaptured it.
Mhm.
Maybe a little bit on the last tour or something. I think he just, yeah, like kind of was wondering what to do in the 90s.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, I'm Afraid of Americans. That's on Earthling, right? Yeah.
Yes.
That was
Yeah.
a pretty decent sized single as far as I remember. I remember when it came out being like, oh, David Bowie's back. Like, I don't know if
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
accurate or whatever, obviously, but I remember it being successful enough and different enough, but also similar enough to what he's done before that I was like, oh, this is great. You know, after
Yeah.
kind of skipping over Outside, unfortunately, you know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a really interesting record. I think that what surprised me was, you know, I started listening to it and I started reading about it at the same time. And when I saw that Brian Eno produced it, I expected like low. I expected
Yeah.
these ambient pieces and like soundscapes and weird synth stuff or whatever. And instead, it was kind of more like the Brian Eno, David Byrne in the Bush of Ghosts, like real
Uh-huh.
funky.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Right.
oh, okay, it's gonna be funky Eno, you know.
Yeah. 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 Even kind of like, you know, I mean, it's not as kind of campy or goofy, but even like Taking Tiger Mountain by
Yeah,
Strategy or Here Come the Warm Jets kind of
yeah,
stuff, sort
I
of.
can hear some of that for sure.
But like I said, I mean, he wasn't involved with it. But if you want to hear a David Bowie record that sounds like a David Bowie with Brian Eno ambient album,
Yeah,
Buddha Suburbia is the one. It's really
awesome.
good.
I'll
I don't
go
know.
check it out.
Yeah, I think you'll like it. In terms of just like, you know, being in media, you know, like the Heart's Filthy Lesson was in that movie Seven, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'm Deranged was in Lost Highway. I mean,
Right.
what a fucking awesome, you
Yeah.
know, like use of the song, you know.
Yeah.
So there's things about it, you know, and the things about the song that I think were, you know, or things about the record that really hit hard. I mean,
Mhm.
probably made more of a cultural impact than a lot of things, you know, especially that. It's like, damn, you're in like the whole movie's kind of based on your song, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know, like
It's pretty
that's so,
amazing. I was most blown away by Small Plot of Land. I think is like the fourth song. I thought that
yeah.
was so cool. And the other thing I found interesting, and sorry to keep talking about Scott Walker, but the Motel, that song
Yes.
is
Yeah.
directly influenced by a song called The Electrician by the Walker Brothers on a record called
Uh-huh.
Night Flights. It's really similar. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, you can tell like they were like, let's make a song like this song. But
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. Like, I mean, that song is amazing and groundbreaking. The first time I heard it, I was at a bar and I waited in line at the bar to ask the bartender what the song was. You know, like that's how
Yeah.
cool that Walker Brothers record is. But yeah, I just think it's so interesting that kind of back and forth. It really reminded me of like the Beatles, Stones, Beach Boys kind of
Yeah.
competition, you know.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so I was really that was my favorite part of this learning about this record was just sort of what influenced it, what inspired it, what they were trying to do with it. And it's interesting because it seems like they didn't accomplish quite a bit of what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
Because it was supposed to
Yeah.
be like a trilogy, I think, and it's like over an
Yes.
hour long a piece or something. And I feel like you lose the thread of the story by the fifth song on this album, let
Yeah.
alone
There's no.
two more albums.
Yeah. I mean, like, I guess it's in the booklet. Like, the story is like, I don't know. Like, they did this. I don't fucking know, man. I've never been able to really like
Yeah.
crack the
But
story.
you have the CD, right?
I got the CD. You know what's
Yeah.
really funny is so when this is how nerdy I am. When I found Leon on YouTube, I took my CD and I put the I don't know if you can see it, but
Yeah.
you can't see it. Well, it should be right here. You know how you get the two CD
Yep.
case? I got one of those and I put Leon in there with just so nerdy. And then I have the record.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and then when they've been putting out these like David Bowie box sets for some years, and when they put out the 90s box, that was the true moment where it was like, they're gonna release the Leon set. And they
Yeah.
didn't. They didn't do jack shit with that. But I bought it anyway, and so I have two copies of Outside on
Nice.
vinyl.
Hey, you got to
And
have it out. Yeah.
this one guy was like, "Did you sell your other copy?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
I bet those are pretty rare though, right? At this point,
The box sets?
or the just the vinyl of Outside.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, this was, I think, a reissue
Hmm.
from 2015, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know what's funny, actually, if you want to get super in the weeds with this, they released a, like back in the day, the vinyl release of Outside was abridged.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So it was like a record instead of a double album, 75 minutes long. It's like they cut the songs down. And I saw that record, that blasphemous slab one time, and I was like, I can't buy this in good conscience, but
yeah.
I kind of want it, but I'm not going to do it because I'm protesting that you did that to his music. You know, how can you cut this album down? It's not long enough.
As an archival piece, it might be interesting to have, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's
probably
crazy
should
they
have
cut
got.
the songs down instead of just cutting songs. Like
I
that's
think they did both. I
crazy.
think like some
Oh,
of the
wow.
songs, it was like, wait a minute, like, hang on. Yeah, Wishful Beginnings isn't 3 minutes long or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Hmm.
funny. Yeah, the story is just ludicrous, honestly. I think it was, well, apparently he wrote this whole diary entry for I read it in the Wikipedia page,
Uh-huh.
for a magazine that was
Oh,
asking
right.
to submit a
Q
diary.
mag or no, something like that.
Yeah, and it's like, okay. Like,
Yeah.
I want to reuse that, and make a story and whatever, whatever.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a good idea. Yeah, you should do your version of Outside. That would be sick.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing is like, I kind of will like be sitting there and I'll be like, I need to make that beat. And I just make this really bad version of that beat. And then I don't even use that. And then it becomes a different song and yada, yada. I feel like on my last record, I tried to do a little bit more of like leaning into like weird short songs that just have a couple lyrics or maybe like a
Mhm.
narration kind of thing. That's as outside as it gets. I mean, like what gave me the permission to do that is this album for sure.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
what I was just about to ask about is like just in your general process and creative workflow and things, do you think that this has affected what you do like in an overt way, like a very real specific way, or is it more of like theoretical, like an outlook on creativity?
it's probably both. Like I said, I mean, I'll be like, we got to put some jangling piano thing on there, like an outside, or like we can do anything because they made Outside, you know.
Right.
It's like both of those, you know, like but it's so funny because like for someone that, I mean, I don't care at all, but it's like no one would be like in their right mind would be like, yeah, you need to write songs like one of the most maligned records of a guy's career, you know. And that's how I always am. I'm like, how do we make it sound like Neil Young trans, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Or whatever. Like, it's just funny because, and then you're like, why are we not getting any shows? Why is no one booking our band?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think just kind of in all ways, just sort of being guided by that and just honestly, like for me, I feel like, and it's kind of expressed in the information about the record that it was a very like pure expression on their behalf. You know, they were, you know, clearly setting up some musicians in a room while he paints and then comes in and does whatever the fuck he wants. I mean, that's as good as it gets, you know what I mean?
It is.
Like, you know, like that's as close to the source of creativity as you can be. You're not forcing it at all.
Just have someone else make it and then come in and talk.
Or like come in and like give a little direction, like make it more doo-wop, you know, pull a card and
whatever the card says.
Director, right? And I think like getting ideas. I mean, it's funny because it's like they had 30 hours of original material and then they whittled it down to like 77 minutes or something, right? For the first go around. It's like, and you look at the gap, and it's like 6 months of them listening. It's like they had the 77 minutes and whatever.
How are we going to make this
October, and they recorded it in March. It's like, man, you guys labored over that shit to try to like find anything usable, right? And they did. I mean, they found, you know, a 30th of it that's usable. But I have a similar problem, you know, like I'll record jams and just be like, that 40 seconds is good. That's the song. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, and but you put in hours of work for 40 seconds too, right?
Yeah, so exactly.
That's kind of the rub.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's like rather than just focusing and maybe writing a song, no, they're not going to do that. You know?
Yeah, there's something to be said about just happening upon accidents and figuring out a way to actually use it. Like, I think that you can come up with melodies and ideas that if you were intentionally trying it, you wouldn't have gotten there. You know, like you just play the wrong note and you're like, shit, that is the right note, you know?
Yeah, that's the note. Totally.
But one thing they didn't talk about in a lot of the stuff I read was the personnel involved. Like, I don't know in the studio what kind of musicians they had there or anything like that.
Oh, yeah.
It seemed like a stable of Eno people or something.
No. It was Bowie people. Eno was like the only Eno guy. But it was like that guy, Erdal Kazilke, I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Okay.
But he was like a huge collaborator with Bowie from like, I want to say like Tonight to There.
Wow.
I think Outside broke him. He's like, I've been with you for 12 years. This is it, man. You know, he was the guy that David Bowie could be like, do this, do that. And he was such a virtuoso musician. He could basically put the whole track together. You know, like there was this period of time, I think, where it was like, I mean, really, it's like the maligned section of his discography was this guy. You know, like Erdal Kazilke, but he rules. Like he basically like single-handedly wrote the Blah 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 record, the Iggy Pop album. It's like all of him.
Wow.
And then he's on that Buddha Suburbia album. I believe he did a ton of stuff on Never Let Me Down, even though that was kind of like a big production. And then I'm not sure what he did in Black Tie White Noise, because that was like David Bowie trying to like come into the 90s. And, you know, he's got Nile Rodgers again. You know, they made Let's Dance. But I do know that Erdal Kazilke was like there. And in that Wikipedia article, it talks about him being like, Brian Eno can't play two chords next to each other. Like he has no musical talent. Like I don't understand this guy. And like everybody else is cool with the cards and stuff.
Right.
And this guy's just like, what the fuck?
This is what I found kind of funny to think about in this time period too, was like, and it makes me wonder about Bowie's entire career. Like it seemed like he was trying to find a way into what was popular at this moment, but just couldn't like quite pull it off.
Yeah.
Like if you think about Tin Machine, like the backlash for that. I remember like people were mad about Tin
I know.
Machine. I need to revisit that record too. Again, I heard it when it came out and I was like, yeah, okay. Like, I think I was just in a
I
different place, at that
well,
age.
I've like I'm such a head on his discography, and I did the same thing, like listened to it when I first found out about it, and then a couple of years ago I checked it again, and I'm like, it's not like the revisitable thing that
Mm,
every other record is to me. I don't know why.
okay. Yeah.
I don't know, but maybe it's good. I don't know. It never really like it doesn't just I don't know what it is about it. It's so funny because it's just David Bowie, really,
Right.
But
Yeah, I got the feeling that it was supposed to be like this stripped down, back to basics, like rock music. And I was
yeah,
like, I
yeah,
don't think Bowie did that in the first place, though. Like, this isn't a return to form.
yeah.
This is like a new thing. But it makes me wonder about even earlier, like if he was trying to accomplish something and just missed the mark because of weirdness or something, And like it seemed like he was like innovating everything, but it might have just been
Right.
like he didn't get it right?
Yeah, yeah. I think the landscape of it all changed too, like
Mhm.
I think there was definitely like a Disneyification of media that kind of went down in the late 90s or
Mhm.
late 80s, early 90s. And I mean, you think about it, it's like what, like not to like diss him that hard, but it's like what was huge, like towards the end of his trying to figure shit out. It's like kind of like Backstreet Boys type
Sure.
stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and that just like wasn't the case in the
Hmm.
70s. You know what I mean? Like when he was mopping it up. And I mean, he
Yeah.
kind of was a Backstreet Boy in the early 80s with like Let's Dance and stuff. It was like that level of pop.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to, he couldn't really sustain that. And apparently, Never Let Me Down was even more successful, even though everyone hates that album. But I kind of, I love it, honestly. I mean, how can you hate a record where Mickey Rourke is rapping on a song? It's like,
Okay. Yeah, I have not heard that, so I'm gonna have to.
I'm terrible, man. I love the like 80s bottoming out records of artists. Like the records everyone hates.
Right?
Like 80s Neil Young is like my
Mm.
shit, and like no one is gonna, you know what I mean? Like no one touches that shit with a 10-foot pole. I mean, they kind of act like they do, but most Neil Young fans do not care whatsoever. And
Yeah.
I mean, anytime an artist is getting sued by his label for making uncharacteristic of the artist's music, something's got to be going on there.
Right?
Like that's
Yeah.
awesome. And that's a thing that Bowie never did. It seemed like Bowie always kind of went with what the label said.
Mhm.
In that later part of his career, like the last, even up till Black Star, they apparently even in Black Star they told him like, hey, this song's too long. It was supposed to be like 20 minutes, and
Wow.
it's like 10 or something,
Yeah.
right? And he was like, okay. And they cut like you cut his fucking song down, and then
And he
and
went
then
with it. Oh
yeah,
man.
yeah. And he always went with it. It was like with Outside, he's like, well, you guys should probably go and try something else because this is like 70 minutes of weird. And he's like, okay, we'll add some songs to it and cut it up. And then he
Yeah.
had that album Toy. He's like, hey, I want to revisit some old songs that really no one's ever
Hmm.
heard. And the label's like, no, no, you don't. We're not going to do that. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess we won't do that then.
Wow. Yeah, and it's even more disappointing with the Black Star thing, knowing that he knew it's the last thing he's gonna make, right? So like, what?
I know, man.
Why bow
They,
down to the
it's
label?
it's so dark, man. And there's so much like label stuff and his
Mhm.
estate stuff that's weird. Like, because they put out that box set and it was like, all right, they're gonna put out the other 30 songs.
Right.
No, they didn't do shit. And my aunt, the huge Bowie fan, she's heard like 4 or 5 of these unreleased Bowie songs from the
Oh,
last sessions. Like Tony
cool.
Visconti
Wow.
invited her to his studio. It was like, here they are, clicked play, and they like she just blew her mind. She doesn't remember
Wow.
anything about it, but she just knows that it was badass, right? But that's like probably the only time that'll ever be heard.
Yeah.
They just keep it locked. I don't know why they do that. He doesn't
Yeah.
have a lot of like extant material.
Hmm.
It's all been pretty much released except for like the Leon stuff and whatever he did at the end of his life.
Wow.
That it. Oh, I wrote on here. I love how like there's like 5 pictures on the Wikipedia page for Outside, and one of them is like David Bowie and the band meeting Bill Clinton. like like 2 months after the record came out, it's like, wait, did he summon him? Is this some real X-Files shit? It's like, hey now.
The next picture, they're shaking hands with an alien.
It's like, hey, hang on a second. You came up with something on that record. The president wants to see you. Like, of all the things, man.
Yeah, it's a matter of national security Outside.
Yeah, exactly. Come on in. I need to know about this Leon character.
Is he really an FBI agent?
Yeah.
We got to find this guy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, thanks so much for coming on. I really love your music, and I can't wait to hear more of what you put out. And it was an amazing conversation.
Thank you, Eric.
Really
Thank you so much. And appreciate you for doing this. It's been fun.
Nice. Okay, well, have a good night.
You
Talk
too.
to you later. Bye.
All right, man. Bye.